Welcome back to Making Imagination, the podcast that looks at animated filmmaking one craft at a time. I'm Wes. Today's craft is perhaps one of the often overlooked crafts in animated filmmaking: layout. What is it and what's involved are things that my guest, Aleksandra Kleczkowska, discusses today. From working on series like The Cuphead Show and Rick and Morty to feature films, she sheds light on another necessary craft in the process of animated filmmaking. I do have one caveat. When recording this episode, I had some audio issues with my mic, so I apologize. The fidelity won't be the best, but here's that conversation.
The layouts, it's much more than just drawing. We have to think about every single thing that will be important for all other departments that will go after us. We will have to prepare the characters in the scale. We have to divide all the elements on the background in layers, so the characters, they can move behind or in front, between, right? Of course, everything has to be drawn in the correct perspective, from the correct angle of camera that storyboard will tell us, and what we have, what materials we have to create that drawing. We have a design and we have a storyboard. And we will base on that information to create scene by scene. And then we will send it to another department. Another department, it's a color, what we call backgrounds, right? So the painters, they are backgrounds. And actually the layout is we draw, and as well we prepare everything for department that they will go after us.
Yeah, so it sort of leads me into my next question. So I think that's a really helpful way of thinking about layout. What kinds of problems do you as a layout artist need to solve for the next departments?
Everything. Yes, seriously, everything, because we have to find a solution how to technically build scene, how to because imagine that in storyboard we have a camera, it's moving from one point to another point, right? And it's complicated movement. For example, it's a huge track in or a huge track out. So we have to know technically how to solve this problem, how many drawings we will need to make this track in, or how many drawings we will need to make this track out. There is a lot of things that you have to know. It's a technical knowledge that you have to have as well. It will come with experience. You don't have to know it in the beginning when you are starting to be a layout. When you start to be a layout, everything what you have to know how to draw it properly, So that's one thing that we have to solve, all the technical problems. And other things we have to know as well, what it's for example, assets, right? So what it's a health cell, what is props, what's going to be in front, what's going to be in the middle, what's going to be in the far characters. So we have to put them in scale, and usually we build the scene based on the character scale, because everything has to be correct. It doesn't look weird, something is too big or too small. So always we base everything on characters, the scale of characters, and as well on, of course, on the basic knowledge of in perspective. And basically we make all the decisions, how to move camera from camera movement and everything, what's gonna be all the information for animators, all the information for the FX artists as well. We have to say to the FX artist, what is an FX, where it's gonna happen, in what moment. We have to as well help animators to make scene poses, character poses. So we pose the characters as well in the scene, and maybe as well some information to the compositors. So even to the last department, sometimes we have to give some instructions. So layout department is really important somehow, because we are kind of directing other departments and preparing things for them.
Yeah. So I know on much smaller productions, I've had to sort of make the call of we don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the schedule for this whole scene. So now this shot is going to have to be a silhouetted shot, just to save time. That's save fun.
Yeah, of course, because sometimes you can you make everything when you're breaking down the storyboard. You can just make all this information as well, but we have to add all this information in scene.
Are you going back to the production designer with all these decisions and conversation? Or are you talking with the art director or?
In theory, we're not supposed to have a design department saying anything anymore when we start the production. But of course, the art director have the last words. Of course, always.
Okay. And so, as a layout department, and you are sort of building on a design that has already been established, and you're passing it on to other artists. So I guess is there much opportunity in the layout department to bring any of your own artistic sensibilities to the layout?
Not really, because what we do as a layout artist, we have to take the style from design that is already created for this show, let's say, of the movie, and we have to be flexible to draw in the same way. So actually, you have to draw in the way that design is designed. I don't know if it makes sense, this thing. But there is not that many a place for your creativity. If you want to be really creative, it's better to be a designer or background designer or location designer, because layouts it's more technical.
How did you find yourself? How did you get into layout?
Well, I was one of other people. I didn't know what actually layout mean, because I started in the small studio in Poland. So there was no such a thing like layout, and everybody were thinking, what does it even mean layout? What, you put everything in frame? And what is that? I was applying for backgrounds. And they sent me to layouts. And that's how it starts. But I have I have a skills of technical skills as well, because I was studying the perspective and geometry and all of these things. I knew it before. So that's they sent me to the correct department.
Okay. So, you talked about on smaller studios, smaller projects, there's usually not layout. But for bigger projects, bigger studios, you start to get more departments, more people. For a show like Cuphead show, which you worked on, how many layout artists would you say there are, and how much time do you have a given episode?
Usually it's it doesn't matter what show it is. Usually it's we have from 5 to 6 layout artists plus lead plus supervisor. That would be pretty much always. And it doesn't matter if it's a Cuphead or Rick and Morty or Hilda or whatever show. That's usually how it is. And I think it's we have usually they would say 1 or 2 weeks per episode. But of course, the thing is what is the difference? The difference is for the show Cuphead, you need people with a big experience, because the Cuphead show, for example, it's really complicated and needs the really high skills, because you have so many technical problems to solve there that without experience, you just can't do it. But we still had 5 or 6 layout artists, even if it was a Cuphead, really complicated show.
Yeah, that one harkens back to some of the really old Disney style drawings, which I'm sure is its own unique challenge. But what would you say? What are some of the greater challenges? What are some of the more difficult things to do in layout? Is it doing all these different styles? Is it doing the technical aspect?
In Cuphead, what was challenging for me, it was just to solve all of the technical problems, because this is what we like. I had technical skills because like if you watch the show, you know that you have like complicated like a camera's view from above or from first perspective or like a prop perspective or like different angles and deformation as well, and all of these like crazy things that you have there, and as well a lot of like really traditional things that they use when they were like not using digital technology, and we try to like translate it to make it look the same way, but in the technical, like a digital way. So that was really challenging and cool about that show. So, but actually, I need like a 6 months of rest after the show because I put a lot. I pulled a lot, but it was a great fun. So that was about the Cuphead show, but every show has like a different challenge. So different like a style and different like problems to solve. Some of them, they have no problems to solve and they are boring.
That makes sense.
I mean, for me.
Sure.
They are not enough complicated. No, I'm kidding, but we are like this, like layout artists, they just like this challenge. Just like to have like spectacular view.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Oftentimes artists, there is something exciting about trying something that's challenging, forces you to grow, and not do something very safe.
Yeah, because like I said, we don't have that much. Maybe it's like connected with the question that you like asked me before, because we don't have that many opportunities to express ourselves, because we are not designing things, but actually we could just make it look spectacular, like make it look a bit better, or give a little touch of something to make it look like special, like more interesting. Because like you can make like, it depends on layout artists, but we can give something that look a little bit better, just you place it, like you make the composition a little bit, you move this, you move that, and in some production you can see that they are like, wow, you feel it, like, wow, why it's so great, like, wow, it's look beautiful. It's look beautiful because it was like, the composition was so well done. It's because of the designers as well, and obviously but we are adding a little thing from us as well.
Layout. Do you have a process as you're put onto a project that you kind of always go through how you approach a particular project? You kind of come into it and say, okay, what are the problems, and break those down, or how do you normally jump onto a project, you personally?
First of all, what you do, like you take like a shot from the storyboard, you cut like the scene from the storyboard, so you have like a drawing and the placement of characters. Yes. So you start from this. So you have like already like some decisions are already made in storyboard, right? Then the second thing that you have to do is to set up perspective. Sometimes you base on 2 lines that they are like somewhere in the background, something, they are like 2 lines, and you have to set up perspective on that 2 lines. Well, mostly we have like more information on storyboard, but sometimes they are just 2 lines. And then you have as well like characters, like more or less in the scale. Like usually storyboard artists, when they start to work, they don't have like a ready design for the characters. So sometimes they are like out of scale. So third phase that we're gonna do, we're gonna set up in perspective, and in this like a photo that we cut it from storyboard, characters. And then we will like try to make them stand in the correct place already, like based to this perspective that it's set up. And then we will take the design that is already prepared before for the location that we are working right now. And we will take the measures from this design, location design. And we will like, this is like funny because like I think about ourselves as that we are like taking measures to solve a dress, sometimes like, it's like like basically like we take the measures all the time, like how high is this window, like what distance it's from this place to another place, because it has to be exactly you can't make a mistake with that. It has to look exactly the same, but from the different camera angle. That's it. And then with this design, we will like build the silhouettes of like the, let's say, like seat in the back, or like, I don't know, inside the room, or wherever character is at the moment, at this location in this sequence. Yes. So then when we like finish to draw, then we place like the information for other departments, which will be like tempanim. That means that you place like a health cells, or like, and then after like from the ethics artist, you have to as well leave the information. So what's gonna be in the ethics, right? So what will explode, or where is the water, or like all of this information. And then, of course, camera movement, how camera will move, like from one place to another place, and then more and more and more and more, all the information that you need. So that's like how it works. I don't know if that's what you wanted to know.
No, yeah, that's helpful. So you mentioned you worked on Cuphead Show. You also work on Rick and Morty. Every show has its own challenges. What are, for the listening audience, what are some specific challenges or some specific differences between those two shows? You mentioned Cuphead having some technical camera work. Is that a different challenge than you might find on, say, Rick and Morty? Or what are some of the differences from a layout perspective between working on those two shows specifically?
Well, in Rick and Morty, there was like most of the layouts are built on like a 1-point perspective with a lot of cheats. So we cheat the perspective to make it look correct, but actually it's not correct. So that's the show. and Cuphead is like everything, craziness about like freedom, with like making everything like more, bigger, weirder. It's like completely two different styles.
Is working on a feature film much different than working on an animated series?
Like, because like when you work on the like series, you can like reuse backgrounds or like elements from another. Make you like work faster. Yeah. So in the feature movie, you don't do that. So every scene, it's important in the feature movie. Everything has to be like beautiful and perfect. There is no like, it's not that important. Few seconds, nobody will notice. So, but actually the process is like similar. So the procedure, it's like the same.
So, since layout is one of the processes that is often overlooked, particularly on smaller productions, how would you coach someone? How do they know what they should consider layout as a career?
The pick is that there is like a bit of lack of like a layout artist at the moment now, because like, what the problem with with layout artists as well, that we can't like show our work because we are not creating that thing. This is not our intellectual creation. So we are not designing this thing. So only designers, they can actually show like in social media or to show up. And for us, sometimes we can't even like show in our portfolio those things that we are doing, because it's just like we base on the design of somebody else. When we have to wait when the show is like streaming, or like it's already in cinemas or something, then we can show in our portfolio secretly, like with like a secret code or something, not directly. So this is not like helping people to join the layout team, because you can't even like show off or like show like your work. So why am I supposed to join this department? I prefer to go to the designers, right? Or to another department, the background designers, to location designer or something like that. So that's not helping. And actually you need have a solid knowledge about drawing, perspective, geometry, composition, a lot of skills. You need a lot of skills to be like a layout artist. But you can, of course, you can learn everything, step by step, starting as a junior and like joining the team and like learn like everything like step by step. Well, if you have all of these things already, like join because like actually most of the people, they start their career as a layout artist because they were applying as a background artist and they were like sent to layouts. Maybe you can try it because like their portfolio was like impressive and they like how it looked like. And they say, oh, maybe this person has like a potential to be a layout artist. Just like apply. Don't be afraid to apply for layout because you don't know what it is. So maybe after this conversation that we had, but I'm not sure if I am like here right now. Maybe it will attract some people to join the team because after all, it's all about drawing. So if you love to draw, it can be good work.